All right. I'm very excited for today's guest and to introduce you to her. On today's episode, alongside co-host Bianca Leger, we interview a self-care, digestion, and emotional healing health coach, a chakra educator, host of your Wellness Journey podcast, and creator of your 7-day reset experience. Welcome to the Winner Circle, Marla Barr.
Oh, thank you for having me, you two. So happy to be here.
So your energy is always so positive, uplifting, inspiring, and that's perfect because that's what this whole podcast is about, to uplift, to inspire, and to empower. And our first question gets us started on that foot. And that is, Marla, what do you love about your world right now?
Probably since we moved here from Southern California, from San Diego, being able to experience seasons in San Diego. It's kind of like every season flows into another, and you could land there and you would never know what season it is. And here we just get this explosion of colors and sounds, and everything around us is beautiful. What a beautiful time of year here.
So one way that we get to know our guests and our audience gets to know their guests, and I think this is something we should always be aware of. To me, it serves as my guiding star in all that I do, whether that be my personal life, my professional life, and everywhere in between. And that is my mission. So Marla Barr, what is your mission here in this reality plane right here, right now?
Mm-hmm. When I go through my meditation practice or my meditative journeying every day, I really come to the table with a mission of just gratitude, and I'm ready. I'm ready for what the day unfolds. You know, from the end of the day to the beginning of the day, often what happens to us, we could have never foreseen the wonderful things that are happening around us. So being open to it, and having new eyes to these experiences, and just saying, wherever today takes me, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
That's a beautiful approach to life. Just like feels like it opens door and it allows us to see anew. And that's a really good practice. Wow.
I don't like to get too far ahead of myself, just really feeling into, how does this feel today? Even if it felt right yesterday, does this really feel right today? Or is there something else that I need to be shifting and moving? So often we have these detailed to-do lists, and it's like the planet, the universe is going to help us get to where we're trying to go. So sometimes those things to get us there, we don't need them anymore, or there's a different route, and just being open to, I know I'm getting there, I am open to how I'm going to get there.
It does feel also like sometimes we get so caught up in structures that we've created, and then it's true, it's like maybe not what we need that day. Yeah, I like that approach of actually tuning into what we need.
Yeah. It's the story of my life, just following the waves of where it's going to take you. Had no clue, but yeah, lots of fun.
That's awesome.
So where have that waves taken you today? What are the things that light up your heart in this moment?
What absolutely lights up. So one of my backgrounds is in food science. So I'm a food scientist, and I studied predominantly your digestion, what your belly is telling you, and how, and my specialty in there was how to understand your micronutrients in your gut, how they're absorbing based upon what you're feeling at that moment. So if you take an apple and you eat it when you just read, or you're looking at something on social media that upsets you, versus sitting in your backyard with no phone in your hand and eating an apple, and how what's happening in your body is entirely different. So really opening people's eyes as to the beauty of your body, its connection to every emotion you have, embracing every emotion. We have over 250 emotions, and they are all so beneficial to us. And just really teaching people, I wish I could give everyone, here's the keys to you, to understanding you, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what your body is doing from the inside out. And then these light bulb moments with people, they're like, that's why I'm feeling that way, or that's why my partner's doing that, or oh, that's why my kid's doing that. Okay, I understand. This makes sense. And as soon as you see people think that this makes sense, it's like, oh, makes me feel so good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It is so empowering to understand ourselves.
And that's you know, that's the core of yoga. It's the self-study, the study of self, and being able to give that to people so they can then understand when my belly is feeling a little bit upset. Okay, what does that mean? Or when I'm constantly thinking about something from 2 months ago, what does that mean? So yeah, it's like you're giving people the keys to their castle. They've been living in these bodies for 20, 30, 40. I have some clients that are 70 years old and they're like, I've never felt this good because I
Mhm.
understand what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So, so let's examine some of these foundational keys. Let's start with digestion. What are the foundational keys to digestion that you think is so important for us to be aware of? Because with that awareness comes choice, and when we have that awareness, we can change the way
Yeah.
we go about our reality. So, what
So I
are
think
those foundations?
there's so many. There's like big ones that are like blow your mind, and then there's so many little mini ones along the way. I'd say one of the first ones that I learned that just kind of rocked my world was that back in university, one of our professors mentioned 70% of all the nutrients that you consume, all the calories, everything going in has to go to run this machine to digest your next meal. So our bodies, our muscles, our minds only ever get about 30% of that to do what we want to do. So really working with people on their digestion so we can, and if you don't chew, if you're like someone who grabs a sandwich and you watch someone, go for lunch with them or give them an apple. I do this apple test and give them an apple and they go chew, chew, swallow. And it's like, oh my gosh, oh, no. And it's like those people, they're like 80-20. Poor things. And yeah, I think the second thing is really understanding the role of chewing, how important it is to create a space wherever you eat is sacred. Wherever in your house you choose to eat, it's sacred. So look at that room, look at that space. Can we try to make sure your phone's not in that room? Maybe if a TV is not in that room, it is a space to eat, and really focusing on chewing. So I always do this little funny little story where it's like, imagine you're at work and you're on this team and your boss comes in and they're like, okay, here's who's on your team, you know, Francine, Billy, and John. And you're like, John, are you kidding? I am not on John's team again. And that is how the rest of your digestive system talks about your teeth. Because this is like the guy that like slacks off, that gives everyone else down the path all the work that he should have done. And it's like, there's nothing in your digestive system that is as strong as your teeth. Absolutely nothing. And we need to use this. So slowing down, chewing like an apple. Was it the consistency of applesauce before you swallowed it? No. Okay. We need to spend time chewing a little bit more. Those are two big ones. Gosh. I think I worked in wildlife conservation for about 12 years. It's something that we kind of brought up and just following the paths of what we're doing. And I somehow crazily ended up in working in wildlife conservation, which was funny. I started in pre-med, I went to food science, and then I did a whole bunch of things in health and wellness. And I stepped away. I was like, I can't do this. I am never going to be good enough. I'm never going to know enough to help you heal. And during that time, I got into yoga and Tai Chi and art therapy. I became a certified chartered herbalist and a Reiki master at that time, and did all these things. And I'm like, I'm going to figure out how to heal people. I'm going to know everything, the science and what we deemed at that time, the woo woo. And I thought, I can absolutely never know enough. So I stepped away and I ended up in wildlife conservation. I started working with elephants to begin with. And I ran an art program and I taught an elephant how to paint. She was an amazing artist to begin with. I didn't have to do nothing really, but I got to spend, a couple hours with her every single week, running her painting program, helping get all the funds, back to Sri Lanka, where she was orphaned in Sri Lanka. And I started working with animals. And it sounds really weird. Like, how is someone who is destined to help people heal take a step back and work with, cheetahs and pandas and, elephants for 12 years. And it taught me so much. I learned so much about how to be human and how to heal my body and my mind as a human from watching animals. And I remember my first breathwork coach when I really got into breathwork was an elephant. And I used to just stand with her, they were getting the easels ready and her keepers were doing all this stuff. And I'd get a good 10 minutes before we started every single day. And I would just go to her and I would put my hand at the base of her trunk, which is kind of right between their eyes where their forehead starts. And I would just kind of hold her trunk and put my hand there. And we would start to breathe together. And you'd have to breathe. Like, you can't out-breathe an elephant. It's not possible. I could crawl up into one of her lungs. But it just taught me to slow down. And how we can learn so much from how to behave, how to look at ourselves, how to take time to rest. Look at any single animal out there, and they know it already. So there's so much from animals. There's like a million different lessons. And I bring it up in my courses all the time. People are like, okay, I want to talk about my skin. Okay, great. Let's talk about cheetahs because I need you to know this. So yeah, so many fun things.
Oh my gosh. I love that. I'm like fascinated. I'm glued to everything you're saying. It took me a good like 2 minutes to actually get confirmation that it was an elephant you were painting with.
Yeah, she's brilliant. Actually, you want to know what? You want to know? I have her. Sorry, I don't know if this is actually the paintbrush. I always keep it by my desk, and this is how she would. I don't know if this is video for your podcast as well, but I'm holding a paintbrush, an Asian elephants, and that's what she was. She would grab it like this, and I'd have a whole bunch of different paint, and she'd go paint, paint, paint. I'm sure I have some of her paintings around here somewhere. I do, but I always take this because I'm like, if an elephant could paint, I wish you could smell that. Look what I did. I put this to the, you can't spell it. You can't smell it, but it still reminds me of her to this day.
Wow, those are amazing experiences.
Yeah, and it's just because just like I do today, I followed it. Something opened up and it was like, this isn't for me. The day before I got that job, I had never seen an elephant in person. Never mind work with an elephant. I had no clue. And the world opened up and they're like, would you do this job? And I'm like, okay, sure. I have no clue what I'm doing, but let's do it.
Wow.
So many places we could take this conversation, but I really like how you came upon this experience by following your heart. Can you talk to about that? The importance of listening to your heart and how do you cultivate that awareness?
I think it is, do you love what you're doing? Do you absolutely love it? Does it, I don't want it to keep you up at night because I want you to get a good night's rest, but does it fill your heart? And I know pretty much every single job I've ever held, I sit down in my office or I go into that office space and I think, man, I can't believe they pay me to do this. I can't believe I get paid to do this, because if my boss, or well, I'm the boss of this company, came in and said, listen, we can't afford to pay you, I'd be like, all right, I'll be in tomorrow, but all right, I'm not going anywhere. And just to be able to say, you want to know what? Life is so many twists and turns. You deserve to do what you love every single day, every single day. what surrounds you in your home, right around you. You deserve to love the bracelet you're wearing, or how your clothes are. You deserve that. Everyone does, to love everything around them. I think that there's this special bubble within 6 feet of you. And if you just look around you right now and think 6 feet in every direction, all of that is in your energy space. What's there? And I'm looking at, I have a whole bunch of crystals, a whole bunch of plants here. I have this little elephant thing. You know, I absolutely treasure everything that is in this bubble. So yeah.
To attune ourselves to that frequency, it's imperative we attend to our emotional health. And you are also an emotional health coach. So we talked about some of the foundations of digestive health. What are some of the foundations of attending to one's emotional health that we need to attend to so that we can open ourselves to these vibrations and frequencies that we just talked about?
So I think it was towards the end of my university degree in food science. And another professor came up to us and said, okay, you guys are, you know, you're graduating this year, but just so you know, our stomach right here, this is called our second brain. And I was like, oh, okay. Is that just because your digestive system? I think it's super important, but is that what we're saying? And the gentleman was like, no, every single one of our emotions, it's an actual molecule, and it is born, it is created in your digestive system. Your emotions, where they're born in your belly. So when you say, oh my gosh, I've got butterflies in my stomach, or I have a gut reaction, or just this, and this doesn't feel right. And as soon as someone say, this doesn't feel right, just watch them. They put their hand on their stomach immediately. And all that is true, because all those emotions you have are directly inside that belly, inside where that solar plexus is. And it works one and the same with your digestive system. So I've been studying emotions for over 20 years now, probably close to 25. And we have over 250 individual distinct emotions. And there's no such thing as a negative emotion. There's emotions that say like joy or bliss, ones that you would label as good. Those are the ones that say, we're in a good place right now. We are balanced. This is feeling good. Whatever decisions we made up to this point, we're doing good. We're on the right track. And all the other ones that we label as bad emotions, I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel depressed, I am so upset, I'm just enraged, I'm jealous. All of these ones are just saying, you want to know what? Something is not balanced. I need some TLC right now. I need some attention. Something is not working here. So every emotion we have are, so think about it as you have 250 best friends, and each of them are working for you every single day. And all they're trying to do is help you make your next best decision. And when we ignore them, we ignore our emotions. I'm not supposed to be emotional. I'm not supposed to have emotions. I'm professional. I want to get this job. I'm going to walk in. I'm not going to show any emotions. We end up on courses we don't want to. And then we stop and we're like, how have I been an accountant for 10 years? I thought I was going to be an artist and write a book. And it's because we've shut this off. And it's waking up and saying, you want to know what? I feel sad. And I have these conversations with my kids all the time. We talk about emotional literacy. It's let's name our emotions and let's talk to them. So my son might say, he's 7 years old. He might say, I'm sad. And I'd say, okay, that's awesome, honey. Let's talk to your sad. And we say, when we stop, we label that emotion, whatever he's feeling. And we say, hello, sad. Thank you for being here. What do I need to know? What are you trying to show me? And I sit with him and I meditate, and we keep saying that over again. And after a minute or so, he says, you want to know what? I'm sad that my friend was sick today and she couldn't come into school. And that really upset me. And we can then talk through that. But all of us, not just kids, this works for everyone. It doesn't matter what you're feeling. Maybe it's joy, maybe it's whatever. But so many of us have just turned off our emotions. We're like, I don't even know what I'm feeling. I have no clue what I'm feeling. Take the tiniest thing. I'm angry right now. Okay, awesome. You're angry. This is perfect. That's one of your best friends trying to talk to you. Hi, anger. Thank you for being here. What do I need to know? What are you trying to tell me? I'm listening to you, and sit with that. It's so important. It just breaks down. Because when we think emotional, we just see girls crying at sappy movies. That's what we think. And it's like, no, it's like anything you do in life, any proposal you're putting through, anything, you have 250 best friends behind you trying to push you forward and trying to help you make the right decision. And it's amazing. It's so freeing to know I don't have to hide my emotions. They're helping me.
Mm.
So.
Wow, I love that reframing. And hearing you talk about this and how you articulate the dialogue with the emotion is super helpful. I feel like in my experience, like many of us, I was super disconnected from my emotion for a really long time. And I couldn't really label or discern. And I definitely held the belief growing up that some emotions were not to be felt, and that I even thought that some of them were kind of like a waste of time. I didn't understand their value. So I love how we can actually reframe this to know that they are guiding us and pointing us back to balance. And then just to kind of give me an idea and some practical tools for everybody listening. If we want to entertain that dialogue with the emotion, and then so first we can identify it, that's like a good starting point. And then if we get to do that, because sometimes that can even be difficult, I think for some people, if we're really disconnected. So if we get to identify it and we ask it what it has to say, can we also ask it what it needs? Are we looking for a solution? What would be the next step?
So our emotions don't need anything other than to point out that something's wrong. They often want to show us that, hey, you're still feeling upset about what your mom said at Christmas last year. They don't need anything from us other than to be heard. So it's always great to just have a pen and paper down while you're doing this as your practice, part of your meditation practice even, and do not question what comes into your mind, your first thought. Because some people, I'm like, I'm not thinking the right thing. I should be thinking this. No. And someone might say, I'm thinking about my dog that I had when I was little. I don't know why. Okay, you're angry. Let's dive into that. You want to know what? This guy down the street got a dog and it kind of looks like my dog and it reminds me of my dog. And when my dog passed away, I wasn't allowed to go to the vet, and something in you was triggered by seeing this little pup down the street or something, but allowing you to say, this emotion has come to the surface. Okay, why? What you trying to tell me? I'm listening. I'm all ears here. I will not push you down again, because that's when we get into problems here. Because those emotions, those are actual chemicals in our body. They're not going away. They're not going anywhere. They will only grow. And then what happens? We get so upset about something maybe that we didn't mean to get upset about. Maybe we see something on social media and we react this big instead of this big, because those emotions, they want to get out some way or other.
And so how can we get them out? What kind of tools can we use for that?
So this is the tool that I use. First of all, it's really important, and Derek is fantastic with this. We have to use our body. We have to move our body to allow things to get out. We have to allow this conversation to take place. And I check in with myself at least a dozen times a day. How am I feeling? How am I feeling? You know what? I am a little tired. Do I have time to take a 10-minute break and just go sit downstairs and rub the cat or make myself some tea? Yeah, I do. I have 10 minutes. I can push things back. No big deal. But if we don't stop, if we don't actively stop and ask ourselves this, it's an issue. And the third thing that is so beneficial, and it is part of my daily self-care practice, is to cry. And it is the best. I do it for 7 minutes every morning after my workout. Get ready in the shower. I put the same song on And I was a terrible crier, terrible. I was just this stoic, I am going to be the corner office kid. Like, I'm going to be the professional, the suit, I'm going to be a doctor, help everyone. I'm going to be the healer. I don't have to show emotion. I'm sure there was like 10, 20 years of my life that might have gone on that I really didn't allow myself to cry, but understand how it's such a healing vehicle and a release vehicle. And studying animals for so long, there is a reason why we cry and animals do not. Certain animals weep, their eyes seep during different parts of their reproductive cycle, especially with males. Anyone that goes through must. So if you're looking through a male, a bull elephant or rams or any of these mammals that go through a full must season, their eyes will seep and it looks like tears. But we are pretty much the only ones that actively cry. But if you look at all the other animals, when they feel an emotion, let's say that's instinct, they act on it. They never, could you say a dog suppressing his happiness? Oh my gosh, oh my God, like it's impossible. Whatever they feel, they do. Instinct. Where because we suppress things, we have this extra special bonus superpower that we can cry to get things out. So every day, even if I'm not sad, it doesn't matter. I put on this one song, find your favorite song that you're like, oh, that lyric, it makes me cry. It doesn't matter what it is. Makes you think about your mom or your dad or whatever. And maybe and sometimes I'm crying from, I saw news and something's going on in Pakistan and I can cry for that. And I can cry for whatever. It does not matter. But allowing yourself, this is my sacred 7 minutes. This one song I listened, 7 minutes. As soon as it's done, I feel a weight off. And it's just the best release, the best release. So those are 3 really good things. Move your body, get things going, talk to the emotion, and really figure out your relationship with crying. And maybe it's just thinking about it, thinking, okay, I'll entertain that. Maybe the next time a movie comes on and it's kind of sad, I won't stop that. I'll just, no one else is in the room. I'm eating popcorn here. There's a sad part. You want to know what? To heck with it. I'm going to cry for the next 5 minutes. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I even heard somewhere that our tears have in the molecular structure that it's designed to kind of give our bodies what we need. So like that every tear is like unique, and then it's like meant to fall in the crevices and it goes all the way to our mouth. I don't know if you've heard this before.
I heard that one.
I heard it one place and I had never thought of it that way before, of how medicinal tears are. But I definitely understand the value of releasing tears, and it's this kind of information has definitely helped me in my journey of understanding that letting myself cry is so therapeutic.
Especially this, this podcast is inside the winner's circle. We want to be winners, whatever that means to you. You have endured lots of setbacks, lots of obstacles to get you to that point. Allow yourself to grieve those. That's okay. That's a really great thing to do. Go back to that thing that it hurt you. You didn't get first place, you got third. Go back to that. We call it, so I worked with Deepak Chopra when I was in San Diego my last few years, and he called it recapitulation. Going back to that place. You're not that person anymore. You're watching yourself do that thing. Go through it and allow yourself to either, go over and hug that younger version of yourself or grieve that situation so you can walk back away from it. And it's so beautiful to be able to do that and appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. So interesting that you brought up the title of this podcast, Welcome to the Winner Circle. And what being a winner means to me is fully embracing the process rather than being destination oriented. We live in a very destination oriented society. When I get this job, or when I get this car, or when I get this promotion or degree or relationship or whatever down the line, I'll be happy. Then we get there and maybe there's some momentary joy, and there's always that feeling of now what, because we're missing we're missing the sweetness, we're missing the song, and that song is the process. So to me, being a winner is setting your star on your mission and moving forth in that direction. And to me, that is winning. And we can all do that. And it starts with simple steps forward in the now. It doesn't have to be huge changes, but you just have to do something, whether that be a deep breath or a bit more open posture, just be more aware of your energetic vibration, being present. Those are sufficient to move the needle forward. So to me, that's what being a winner is. And that's why this podcast is called Welcome to the Winner Circle. Marla, to you, what does being a winner mean to you, and what does winning look like for you in your life?
It is, for me, waking up and having a day where probably there's three things. One is, did I take a step forward? Doesn't matter how it ended up. It could have been, I was talking to this young entrepreneur earlier this week, and she was like, oh, I posted this and I worked really hard on this and I didn't get any likes. I'm like, did you take a step forward? Did you do it? Can you check it off that it's done? Yep, you're a winner. Great. Did you take a step forward? Every day we get up and we just take a step forward. That is winning. You have won if you wake up and take a step forward. The second thing is, for me, winning is, did I place myself at some point in the day in absolute awe? Did you feel awe? That feeling where you're surrounded by, I know I wake up, we have a new kitten. Well, she's a year now. She's not a kitten, but she insists on going for a little walk in our backyard at 5:30 every single morning. It's pitch black out right now. And so I put her harness on, put her leash on, and we go in the backyard and I look at the stars, and I've memorized where they are and where the moon is. And she and I stand there, well, she sits there for 15 minutes. And it's this morning, there was like the Milky Way was right behind it, and you can see it. You can see it. And you can say, okay, there's that constellation, and I know it points to this. And you stare there, and I am in awe. And sometimes it's just going for a walk in a forest. Normally it has something to do with nature, where you're just like, it takes your breath away. It takes and every morning, 15 minutes stargazing with this cat, I am in awe. And then the last thing is listening to your emotions. Did I check in with myself? Did I fill my cup? So say if you pretend you have a pitcher and you're holding it to your chest here, and all day long you're pouring it into the podcast, you're pouring it into your partner or your friends, and you stop for a moment and you think, oh shoot, I haven't put anything in my pitcher. I don't even think I've put anything in my pitcher for years. Something for me, just for me in here. And it's like we're pouring, but you know this with relationships you've had, or even maybe with yourself in the past, you're giving, but it is empty. And that is true. This is empty. This is empty. And so making sure every day, what have I done for myself to pour stuff in here? It's not being selfish, taking care of yourself. It means how I pour into my kids and into my clients and my partner and our cat and whatever else we're doing. It's full. It's full. So those are the three things.
I know I resonate with that deeply. And if we don't fill our cup up full, we're unable to serve others from the best of our ability. And I feel so often people put their kids first, or their work first, or their partner first, or their whatever first before them. But that's not fair to any party involved, because they're getting a half full cup of you serving them. So we must attend to our own self-care so that we could best serve others. And this is something that you're super passionate about. You're a self-care coach. What got you on this journey of attending and prioritizing your self-care? How did we get to this place that you are now?
I think it's a mix of really my background in digestion. Take, my 12-year sabbatical working with wild animals all over the world, and saying we are so connected to nature. We are and watching the morning routine of a lion. From the second he flutters his eyes open, what does he do for himself? How does he treat himself? And watching how all other animals on planet Earth. Is anyone going to go, oh, that squirrel is so selfish for sitting there and just scratching itself for 3 minutes? It could have been going and getting another nut. No, we don't think animals are selfish. Why do we think we're selfish when it's like, you want to know what? I'm going to go schedule that massage. You know, my work plan pays for 5 massages a year. I'm going to do that. And then we feel guilty. We feel like, oh, I shouldn't take care of myself. But it's the opposite of being selfish, self-care. Because if I take care of myself, then I can take care of you. I can hold your hand in a qualitative way when you need it. It's not selfish. And just flipping that switch and saying, I have to put my self-care first in order to put you first, or else we're all at the back of the line.
Mm-hmm. What's the first step for someone who's not attending to their self-care to move forward in that direction? What's one thing that they could do?
So, and this is a sacral passion thing. So this is a really fun one. So I teach the chakras. So when I looked at all these emotions, 250, how the heck was I going to make this make sense? And then I started learning, I became a yoga teacher, and I started working with Deepak and his team. And they taught me a lot more about our chakra system. And I realized how each of these emotions fits specifically in one of these 7 centers.
Mm.
So just really starting at the bottom, what do I need to feel safe? What do I need to feel safe? And sometimes we don't get to say, hey, I'm going to go get a pedicure today. We don't start there. It's just start at the bottom. Do I feel safe? Do I feel secure? What are the things I can do here in my home to feel more safe and secure? And I do this thing with my clients where we actually walk through their homes. I'm like, stand in your bedroom. Do you feel safe? Do you feel secure? You want to know what? I need to fix that blind. It never really shuts right. And in the middle of the night, someone could look in my bedroom. Okay, we're going to fix that. What else? You know what? I really need to keep $1,000 in that account. That would make me feel safe and secure. Okay, let's do what we need to do. You need to feel safe and secure from your finances, from your food. Like, oh, I hate getting to the bottom and I have nothing to eat and it's the day before grocery shopping. Okay, let's figure out how we can restructure that so you feel safe and secure. And then the second part is going up to our passion center, this sacral center, where it's, what do you want? Now we know what you needed. Where you're safe, you're secure here. What do you want? What do you want? And that is a really, really hard question for people that, just like you were saying, Bianca, earlier, when you were growing up, your emotions were like, hey, there's certain emotions I'm not supposed to feel. And what do we tell kids? Honey, get up. It's okay. It's only a little boo-boo. Stop crying. Honey, no. If you keep crying like this, you're going to be going to your room. And we teach kids, shut it down. We don't want to hear your emotions. We don't want to see your emotions from a young age. As soon as you hear a baby crying, shh, be quiet. Shh. I don't want the predators to hear you if we're cave people. So you instinctively know what parents are doing, but still it's shutting them down. So we get to the point where if we're not tuning into our emotions, we also do not understand what we want. And I know there was one time when both the kids were little. I was working full time and had these 2 little kids. And my husband turned to me one day and he's like, Marla, what do you want? And I think it was like a simple question, like, what do you want for dinner? Do you want me to order Thai or should we go grab sushi? But I stopped and looked at him and I thought, I don't even know how to answer that question. I've been attending to what my daughter wants, what my son wants, what the laundry needs, what everything else, so much. I don't even know how to tap into what I want. I don't even know how to go there. Where is that place? I have no clue. And just sitting there in meditation and saying, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And maybe it'll come to you so silly, like, I want to buy a new plant. I want to go to I saw at the farmer's market, there was that plant. I want a plant. Good. Start. You did something. We need you to want something, because then we can start to move towards this. Or else what do? We let society push us in what direction we're supposed to go in. I'm supposed to be a lawyer because my mom's a lawyer, my dad's a lawyer. All right, I guess I'll do that. All my emotions have been shut off. I don't get to make a decision. My wants don't count. I'm just going to go along the road like everyone else. When we say stop, what do you want? I want to get this new music. I want to go take a yoga class. I want to go for a walk. Or you want to know what? I'm not hungry for breakfast. I know they say I'm supposed to eat breakfast at 8 o'clock every morning. You know what? I'm just not hungry. I don't want to eat right now. Okay, what do you want? Start small, celebrate small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm so happy that people are gonna hear this. Yes, we need to hear this. Like we need those reminders.
Everyone does. Everyone does.
Mm-hmm. So one thing that we were talking about before we hit record on this podcast was the role of Reiki in your experience. Reiki has been something we've talked to the last few guests about, and it's something that's calling to Bianca in particular. So what role has Reiki played in your journey?
Well, definitely. So I probably became a Reiki practitioner, or went through all of my training when I was maybe 22, 23 years old. And in all honesty, I had a mentor at the time. She was putting me through this 2-year course to become a reflexologist. And she was teaching me about all the meridians. And I loved and adored her, and I would do anything she told me. And she was like, you want to know what? There's this lady flying in from the Caribbean. She's a Reiki expert. I had never heard of the word before. She's like, she's doing this big, long thing. You need to sign up. And I was like, I'm signing up. I have no clue what this is. I don't even know how to spell the word Reiki. Sure, I'm doing it. Starting tomorrow. Perfect. So I went through it and did all the practicum, completed it. And then I noticed, and I have to admit, I can feel people's energy in a different way. But when it really takes hold is for some reason with me and animals. And maybe that was why I was drawn to wildlife conservation. I can feel what is going on in animals. So we'd walk in, and maybe I was with some tigers. I was with a tiger mom, and she had 3 little babies. And the keepers are talking. I worked the conservation aspect of it, and I can feel what's wrong. I can feel what's wrong in them, and I don't know how. And it happens right now with dogs. Like someone will say, oh, my dog's going for a walk. Oh, they're kind of limping. Something's wrong with their paw. And like animals will come to me and they somehow show me what's wrong. So I just put up my hand, and they end up pressing whatever's wrong against my hand. So I'll be like, no, it's actually their left shoulder. Watch him walk. He's trying to tell you it's his shoulder. And sure enough, they take him in, and it is their left shoulder. So I have seen it through animals, and I've seen it through people a little bit, but more animals, I think, because they're so pure, they're not trying to hide things from me. Maybe that's why they're drawn to me. I can go anywhere, and some animal will be walking in the forest, and all of a sudden my husband will be like, there's a coyote walking behind us. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Okay, you go ahead with the kids, and I'll just stay here with this coyote and see what's going on if there's something he needs me to know. So for me, my connection ended up being somehow much more stronger with animals, but I can definitely feel it with humans, but not to the same degree, because we put up all these veils. We try to hide what we're doing. So yeah, but I love it. It's once you've tuned into it, once you've gone through the practice and gone through these lessons, it changes your life forever. It changes your life forever. Understanding your energy, others' energy, and how to shift energies when needed. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Wow.
Another thing that I've been wanting to talk to you about on this episode is your podcast, your wellness journey podcast. That's been something very dear to you. And then you've recorded many, many episodes now and spoken to thought leaders in so many fields of science and expertise. So let's talk about how that journey got started. When did you feel the call to start a podcast? What did that look like? And how did you step past that fear, kind of that resistance holding you back? Oh, yeah, no one wants to hear what I want to say, or I'm not ready to do this. How did you step into that unknown world and experience the success that you are now with it, and speak to so many great people and inspire both yourselves and anyone listening?
Yeah, I think it was, well, it started in yoga. I moved to Winnipeg, and first thing I was like, I have to find my studio where I can go and be with my peeps. Because, Southern California, there's a yoga studio on the corner of every single street practically. So I'm like, where are my yogis? So I started going to a yoga place, and the guy that always practiced right next to me, who is like one of my best friends, is a producer, and he's been in radio for forever. So he was like, you want to know what? You have to come on my show. So I went on his show, and they got all this response, all these questions. And he is a podcast producer. And he's like, you should do this. This is a great way for you to connect with individuals and just help them. People love listening to podcasts. They're going for a walk right now. Like, I would love to know, everyone who's listening to this, what are they doing? Are they in their car and they driving? Are they, walking, going for a walk, going for a run? Are they in the gym? Where are they right now? But they can put the earpods in and just listen to this, and they can absorb something just for themselves. So it became a really great vehicle where I just used it at the beginning. I go back and forth interviewing people, but half of it is just me talking. I pick a topic that I get asked about all the time. Maybe it's dairy, or maybe it's gluten, or maybe it's really understanding all the emotions in your sacral center, whatever it is, whatever questions I'm getting, Mercury in retrograde right now, whatever it is. I can sit there and record an episode, and there you go. There's your resource. So anyone who comes to me 3 years from now who's like, hey, I'm really stuck with dairy. Do you have, can you, from the science background that I have, as well as the kind of woo-woo energy, Reiki, reflexology, like all of that, bring that together. And what do we got here? What do we have? So I can just say, hey, here you go. Because I used to spend so much time in emails explaining every little thing that someone had. Here's a podcast episode for you. Listen to it at your leisure. Let me know if you have any additional questions. So it's a great resource. We're creating these libraries that can help move people on their journeys. Yeah, we just celebrated 100 episodes. So it's exciting.
Wow. Amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, let's celebrate that for sure.
So let's now get into your relationship with fear. Maybe that fear came up when you were about to start your podcast, or maybe that fear came up when you went to go work with animals. Maybe, who knows? The fear that I'm sure comes up all the time. What do you do with it? What do you do when that fear arises, Marla?
Oh, so I am just the kind of mind body type where, and I walk people through what their archetypes are, what their wellness body type and mind type are. And I am very much the mind type of the hummingbird. So we're always going from flower to flower to flower. We're the people that really can't complete things. We start something and then we're on to the next thing and we're on to the next thing. We're not the ones that kind of stay in one place. So I get so much energy from throwing myself off the cliff, having no clue where I'm going to land, and just like spreading my wings. I have to do that. If a month goes by and I haven't done something scary, totally out there, has nothing to do with what I'm doing, I have to do that. And so it's not that I feel fear. When do I feel fear? You have little kids, so you get scared that they're gonna, I don't know, I don't know, their cough turns into something more than a cough. But when it comes to life, I love that feeling of, I have no clue what I'm doing. Nothing that I have done in life has prepared me for this. So it's like every little cell has to be totally open and totally aware, because it's like, this is so foreign and I love it. So no fear jumping into podcasting, no fear into those type of things. I look for that around me.
Mm-hmm. For clients that you do work with, however, that do feel that fear of going to that yoga training, or quitting their job, or changing relationships, or moving cities, or whatever down the line, what advice do you give them on developing that healthy relationship with fear and embracing it, surrendering to it? What advice would you give those?
So, well, because I do this as well all the time with my clients who they want to do something for themselves, but they don't think they can. So we talk through their fear and we listen to it and where does it stem from. So often we end up talking a lot about what happened to them as a kid. And, oh, you want to know what? My mom tried her whole life to lose weight and it never worked and it's never going to work for me, or whatever that is. And so we talk through it and giving people an opportunity to tell their fear story. We all have a fear story. Every single one of us. The very first time we started feeling fear, and we've added little chapters to that book as we age and as we go through these beautiful relationships and times and everything. And so giving people the opportunity to, okay, let's open that fear book together. Where was that? What, you don't have to talk about the scary chapters if you're not ready to go there, but let's just pick one page and start dissecting it. And why is it safer to stay here? And really letting them put on those two outfits. Okay, if we stay right here in this safe little cocoon, no one's moving, no one's changing, we're in the same job, same town, same relationship. What does 3 months from now look like for you? What does a year from now look like for you? What is 5 years? Nothing's changed. We're not changing anything. We're not stepping out of our box. Okay, now just for a day, just for one day, put on a different outfit and say, pretend I signed up for that yoga teacher training. What does 3 months from right now look for you? Oh my gosh, well, I'd be a certified yoga teacher. All right. Well, let's play that out, play that day. So it's now, today is, almost October 1st. So that is now January 1. Walk me through your January 1. You are a yoga teacher. Tell me about that day. Let's pretend. What are you wearing? What are you doing? Who are you talking to? And getting them to embrace that. So that becomes, they understand this way and this way. And they're like, yeah, I like this. I've been able to talk about my fears. I'm in a safe place where whatever my fears are, fully embraced. There's no way that you can go wrong as long as you're sharing. And I've taken on both. Okay, I see path 1 now. I've really gone through it. I see path 2. Okay, I really have gone through it. You know what? I do want this. And then what happens if it doesn't work out? What happens if we have to step back? Let's go through that. What if you sign up for yoga teacher training and it is too hard? After 1 week, let's give ourselves 1 week. At the end of 1 week, what could we do? What are our outs, or what would we do? Okay, play that scenario out. All right, okay. Well, now we have a plan if it doesn't go the way we think, but let's try.
So life is about highs and lows. So let's examine one of those times in your life, those lows where things didn't work out the way you intended. So let's look back and let's try to think of a challenge, maybe even your biggest challenge that you've encountered on your journey thus far. What was it? And then how did you rebound from that situation? How did you use your tools to pick yourself back up and continue that forward momentum, that forward movement?
Yeah, well, I think one of the best moments, also my worst moments of my life, it took me years and years for me to figure out that it was my best moment or my greatest opportunity, was we lived in San Diego. I worked in wildlife conservation. I got to see pandas and koalas and cheetahs and tigers and everything whenever I wanted to. And I got to work with the most amazing humans on planet Earth. I loved them. I loved them. I loved what I did. I was helping save the planet, save animals. Like, how could you not do it? That wasn't my path. That wasn't what I was meant to be. I knew from the time I was 2 years old, I'm a healer, but it was amazing. Did it for 12 solid years. I wasn't going anywhere. I was going to retire there. I wasn't even going to retire. I was going to work there until the day I died, happily, absolutely happily. And then something happened. I got a new boss and he was terrible. He was absolutely the most horrible individual. He waited until I went on maternity leave with my son, and actually he caused me to go into early labor. He started yelling at me one day and I couldn't understand why he was yelling at me. He was just an angry person. But I was 8 months pregnant and my body went into shock and I ended up delivering my son early. And while I was, one of the things that they don't tell you about being in the States is when you work for a company and you're pregnant and you're going on mat leave, you will come back to a job, you might not come back to your job. And as a manager, I fought so hard for all of my staff that were women that left on maternity leave to make sure when they came back and they got their job back. Not guaranteed in the US, it's crazy. So when I went out on medical leave early, because I delivered my son early because of him, he totally restructured my entire department and basically took away my job. And I came back and I didn't do anything. I couldn't go to any meetings. He took everything away from me because he basically wanted my job, and he ended up taking it. And I couldn't believe it. I had done everything right. I loved my job. What was going on? And because of him, I ended up leaving, and I was lost. I was absolutely lost. I was never going to leave. My best friends were there. Why? I would never, ever consider leaving. And I was so lost. And now I have this tiny little baby as well, and this toddler with my daughter. What was I going to do? And it was long and hard. And I thought about, you're a healer. You're a healer. And we use those 12 years to really connect with animals and understand how they heal. It's time to get back. So I was like, I'm going to apply to go back to med school. And I'm like, I'm going to apply to Stanford. It's the biggest thing out there. I'm just going to apply. So I applied, and a week later, they're like, we have an opening. Do you want to do a fellowship in healthy aging? You start next week. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? This is not how this works. I just was applying out of the blue, and I started the next week. And then what else happened? Then they said, you need to have a place down in San Diego. So they put me in touch with the neuroscience department at the university there. And I started working on a wisdom project. What is wisdom? Where is it? Where is it in our brain? How do we form wisdom? How do you know if you're wise or you're not? Fantastic. And they hooked me up with Deepak Chopra, and I started to work with him and his team. And none of that would have happened if I didn't get that new boss. And it's just this lesson that sometimes our greatest teachers in life, our greatest teachers that are sent to us to help us get us on our past, are our worst enemies, are the people that come at us with what we think is swords. And it's because someone is saying, hey, Marla, you're off your path. I could send you a teacher that says, Marla, maybe you should go back to school or blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to do that. I have the greatest job ever. I get to go see pandas. Are you kidding me? I'm going to send you someone right now. I'm going to send you such an important teacher that within the next 3 months, he's going to put you back on your path. And to realize that that gentleman was one of my greatest teachers and greatest gifts. So freeing, so freeing. But yeah, it was the lowest time in my life, having this tiny baby, and now I'm back at med school and doing this fellowship, and I don't know, and Deepak Chopra and what's going on. I have no clue. It was such up in turmoil. And it was the best thing. Nothing that I've done to this date would have happened if he had not come into my life.
Mm-hmm. What an aha moment. It was all happening for you. Because you allowed it. You allowed it to be. You allowed that to be the path that you saw.
And I'm sure this is the same for so many of the people that have come here before, and so many of the people listening. Think about your biggest, what you might label as enemies in your life. And if you think back to that relationship you had with them, and maybe it was a sparring partner, or maybe it was a partner, were they sent to you for that short amount of time, for 1 week, 1 year, 6 months, because their role in your life was to get you back on your path? They were sent to you to get you back on your path. And I love the yoga saying that everyone in your life is playing their role perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And then the flip side of that is, and this has a lot to do with releasing guilt. It's one of the big courses I teach, is if that is true, if you now can believe that, okay, everyone around me, my mom with all of her quirks, my dad, my brother, my sister, everyone, they are playing their role perfectly to help me get to my level. Mm-hmm. What it means is you have played your role perfectly. in everyone else's lives. So think about the little things of guilt that you're like, oh, I should have done that for my best friend. You know, I've had so many friends. I've had friends that have passed away from suicide. What if I called? What if I did this? What if I did, you know, so much that happened. And to stop and say, I played my role perfectly. I played my role life perfectly for them as well. And it's just like this wave of guilt can come off your shoulders. So it's huge.
Whew, what great wisdom shared so far. So many different areas in this conversation. And that brings us to our final three questions that we all ask all guests. And that is, through all the highs and lows, that is this journey here in this reality, what has been the greatest life lesson that you've learned on your path that you feel called to share with us today?
Well, that one was definitely a big one. Going back to every single emotion you have is your best friend. Listen to them. They're all there to support you and help you on your way. And then I'd probably say something that I've said since I was young. And I think this helps, especially for people that are really athletic, really pushing themselves to their version of what the winner's circle is. And I've always tried to follow. I'd rather aim high and fail than aim low and succeed. I rather live my life failing from that big thing I'm trying to reach out to. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help people all over and heal them. I'd rather do that than succeed when I've put my bar way down low.
So beautiful. Thank you for that, Marla. In 3 words, how would you describe the experience you were having on this earth?
I'd say naive. I am naive and new. I look to every single day, brand new eyes, like I've never seen it. The second is love, heart center. You know, once you break all of this down, everything, media, everything, politics, vaccines, all of this, we're here to love one another. That's it. You know, we are a society of individuals. We're not alone, supposed to be isolated away from everyone. We so need people. We're here to love everyone. And I would say the last one would be awe, bringing that awe into your day every day, every single day. If you can be in a place of awe and wonder from what surrounds you, you've done it. You're in the winner's circle.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love that. And my last question for this episode. We're all magicians at heart, and I'm going to play with space. I'm going to play with time. I'm going to bring us to a different dimension. I'm going to bring us in time, in a time where you are 85-year-old. We're alongside an 85-year-old Marla Barr. Who is this 85-year-old Marla Barr? Where are we? Who are you surrounded by? What are you doing? And what is the legacy that you left on here on your time on Earth?
I have a fantastic garden in the back. I'm still doing what I'm doing. I love it. I absolutely love it. There's no such thing. What would I retire from? I get to help people understand themselves better every single day so they can love themselves. And I get to, you know, with clients and working with all these courses, I get to meet the most amazing people on the planet, most amazing people. And what a joy to learn other people's stories, to share yours like we've done today, and to learn others. There's not a single person out there that if you listen to their story, it doesn't take your breath away. It doesn't melt your heart. Every single one, every single human has the best story ever. And being able to share that with new individuals is so, so special.
So let's stay with this 85-year-old Marla a moment longer. She's in her garden, always curious, helping people love and understand themselves. And I'm going to bring us back to the now. I'm going to bring us back to the infinite now. And that 85-year-old Marla sends current day Marla a message. What does he whisper in your ear?
Drink your water. Get that water in. She's the same thing that I tell everyone, you know, get back to yourself. Fill your cup. the beautiful thing about doing what I do and talking about self-care is I can't talk it unless I am actually living it. So it's like I've given myself license to spoil myself every day, all day long. I have to. Can't talk it. Can't preach it without doing it.
Not only doing
40
it.
years from now, after 40 years of spoiling myself, oh my gosh, can you imagine what my skin's gonna look like? I'm just gonna be glowing. Stand back. Stand back.
Not only a doing it, but a being it.
Yeah.
A being it. A radiating that. And exemplifying that. Thank you so much, Marla. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. Bianca, do you have any last closing words as a reflection on this episode?
I feel like Marla said so many wise, beautiful things. I could listen to you all day. Honestly, you are captivating. And I'm excited that we're bringing this conversation to people because we really do need to fill our cups. I'm taking a lot away from this. So thank you.
Thank
so
you.
they can find Marla on Instagram at marla.barr, on her website, marlabarr.com, marlabarr.com, or they could sign up for her your 7-day reset experience at the website as well. Anywhere else that they could find you, Marla, and any last closing words from you?
That's it. Instagram, my website. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with people. If you have any questions about anything we chatted about today, I'm always more than happy to message you and chat with you further.
Beautiful. To close every episode, we bring our fist ins, the winner circle for digital fist bump. Boom, a choice we can all make. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.